Hare Krishna, Sapan Prabhu, Vani Matadi,
Hare
Lavanya, Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Will start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya. Chaksharam Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityamaya Sasana गौरवान प्रचारने मेरे विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारने जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयति कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दं माधवं श्री चैतन्य मिश्रम् ओम पवित्र पवित्र वा सर्वावस्यमृतो भूय स्मरेत् पुण्डरीकाक्षं सर्वाभ्याभ्यन्तरं श्री विष्णु श्री विष्णु ओम तद्विष्णु परमं पदम् सदा पश्यन्ति सूर्यो दिव्या चक्षुरा ततं सद्विप्रासुपन्यो जागृहंस समिन्दते विष्णु यत् परमं पदम् हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम 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 हरे हरे I'm just sending one message, again, just a reminder. VRC group. राधे रानी काटे कौन जाना हसी बिलाई तारी नाम सभाया जीव रूपे गादीते तादेरा के हईता अगुया सभाया जीव रूपे गादीते तादेरा के हईता अगुया यदि प्रभुपाद न हुईतो तबे की हुईतो ए जीवन बहिता किसे यदि प्रभुपाद न हुईतो तबे की हुईतो ए जीवन बहिता किसे देश देश हरि विग्रह सेवा आरती रात्रि दीने देश देश हरि विग्रह सेवा आरती रात्रि दीने रथयात्रा दे महोत्सव सब सिखाईता कौन जाने रथयात्रा दे महोत्सव सब सिखाईता कौन जाने यदि प्रभुपाद न हुई तो तबे की हुई तो ए जीवन बहिता किसे यदि प्रभुपाद न हुई तो तबे की हुई ए जीवन बहिता किसे read translation anyone devotees third one and fourth one is translation Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. Who else would have come to distribute Harinam to them? Who else would have come forward to transform them into civilized beings? Who else would have taught them how to worship the deity form of Lord Hari day and night with Arti Kirtana and how to conduct the Rath Yatra and other grand festivals?
Everything comes from him only. Everything he has shown how to conduct all this, how to run a preaching program, how to run Ratha Yatra festival, how to run food for life program, how to run book distribution, everything, how to do deity worship. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I'm opening now. Lilamrita. Yeah, okay. We are reading from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, volume 1, chapter 22. The 22 chapter is, that is the 22 chapter. Yesterday we started. Swami invites the hippies. Yeah. So we'll start reading. Hare Krishna, Vani Mataji. Let me see who is there. Vani
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Yeah, please start reading.
Yes, Prabhuji. Although Prabhupada had found that reporters generally do not report his philosophy, he took the opportunity to preach Krishna consciousness. Even if the reporters didn't want to delve in the philosophy, his followers did. The big mistake of modern civilization, Srila Prabhupada continued, is to encroach upon others' property as though it were one's own. This creates an unnatural disturbance. God is the ultimate proprietor of everything in the universe. When people know that God is the ultimate proprietor, the best friend of all living entities, and the object of all offerings and sacrifices, then there will be peace. The reporters asked him about his background, and he told briefly about his coming from India and beginning in New York. After the reporters left, Prabhupada continued, speaking to the young people in his room. Mukunda, who had allowed his hair and beard to grow, but who wore around his neck the strand of large red beads Swamiji had given him at initiation, introduced some of his friends and explained that they were all living together and they wanted to help Swamiji present Krishna consciousness to the young people of San Francisco. Mukunda's wife, Janaki, asked Swamiji about his plane ride. He said it had been pleasant except for some pressure in his ears. The houses looked like matchboxes, he said, and with his thumb and forefinger he indicated the size of matchbox.
First airplane travel from New York City to San Francisco. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Who else there? Lavanya. Okay. Hare Krishna, Lavanya.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji. He leaned back against the wall and took off the garlands he had received that day, until only a beaded necklace, a common, inexpensive item with a small bell on it, remained hanging around his neck. Prabhupada held it, inspected and workmanship, and toyed with it. This is special, he said, looking up, because it was made with devotion. He continued to pay attention to the necklace as if receiving it had been one of the most important events of the day. When his lunch arrived, he distributed some to everyone, and then Ranachora efficiently though tactlessly asked everyone to leave and give the Swami a little time to eat and rest. Outside the apartment and in the storefront below, the talk was of Swamiji. No one had been disappointed. Everything Mukunda had been telling about Swami him was true. They particularly enjoyed how he had talked about seeing everything from Krishna's viewpoint.
Continue.
That night on television, Swamiji's arrival was covered on the 11 o'clock news, and the next day it appeared in the newspapers. The Examiner story was on the page too. Swami invites the hippies, along with a photo of the temple filled with followers and some shots of Swamiji, who looked very grave. Prabhupada had Mukunda read the article aloud.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, Deepa Mataji, please continue.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranam. The lanky master of the faith. The lanky master of the faith, Mukunda, read, attired in a flowing ankle-long robe and sitting cross-legged. Sitting cross-legged in a big mattress. Swamiji interrupted. What is this word lanky? Mukunda explained that it meant tall and slender. I don't know why they said that, he added. Maybe it's because you sit so straight and tall, so they think that you are very tall. The article went on to describe many of the airport greeters as being of the long-haired, bearded, and sandaled, sandaled set. San Francisco's largest paper, the Chronicle, also ran an article, Swami in Hippie Land, Holy Man Opens SF Temple. The article began, a holy man from India described by his friend and beat poet Allen Ginsberg as one of the more conservative leaders of his faith, launched a kind of evangelistic effort yesterday in the heart of San Francisco's hippie haven. Srila Prabhupada objected to being called conservative. He was indignant. Conservative, how is that? In respect to sex and drugs, Mukunda suggested. Of course, we are conservative in that sense, Prabhupada said. That simply means we are following Shastra. We cannot depart from Bhagavad Gita, but conservative we are not. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so strict that he would not even look on a woman. But we are accepting everyone into this movement, regardless of sex, caste, position, or whatever. Everyone is invited to come chant Hare Krishna. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's munificence, his liberality. No, we are not conservative. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataya. Thank you. Now next, Raju Prabhu or Sapan Prabhu? Sapan Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yeah. Chautara, Prabhu.
Raju Prabhu, ఏంటి
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I will read Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Srila Prabhupada rose from bed and turned on the light. It was 1 a.m. Although the alarm had not sounded and no one had come to wake him, he had risen on his own. The apartment was cold and quiet, wrapping his chadara around his shoulders. He sat quietly at his makeshift desk, a trunk filled with manuscripts, and in deep concentration chanted the Hare Krishna Hare Krishna mantra on his beats. After an hour of chanting, Srila Prabhupada turned to his writing. Although 2 years had passed since he had published a book, the third and final volume of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, he had daily been working sometimes on his translation and commentary of the second canto, but mostly on Bhagavad Gita. In the 1940s in India, he had written an entire Bhagavad Gita translation and commentary. But his only copy and mysteriously disappeared. Then in 1965, after a few months in America, he had begun again, starting with the introduction with which he had composed in his room on 72nd Street in New York. Now thousands of manuscripts pages filled his trunk, completing his Bhagavad Gita. If his New York disciple, Hayagriva, formerly an English professor, could edit it, and if some of the other disables could get it published, that would be an important achievement.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sapan Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. But publishing books in America seemed difficult, more difficult than in India. Even though in India he had been alone, he had managed to publish 3 volumes in 3 years. Here in America, he had many followers, but many followers meant increased responsibilities. And none of his followers as yet seemed seriously inclined to take up typing, editing, and dealing with American businessmen. Yet, despite the dim prospects for publishing his Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada had begun translating another book, Chaitanya Charitamrita, the principal Vaishnava scripture on the life and teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Putting on his reading glasses, Prabhupada opened his books and turned on the dictating machine. He studied the Bengali and Sanskrit text and picked up the microphone, flicked the switch to record, flashing a small red light, and began speaking. While the Lord was going chanting and dancing, he spoke no more than a phrase at a time, flicking the switch, pausing, and then dictating again. Thousands of people were following him, and some of them were laughing, some were dancing, and some singing. Some of them were falling on the ground, offering obeisances to the Lord. Speaking and pausing, clicking the switch on and off, he would sit straight, sometimes gently rocking and nodding his head as he urged forward his words. Or he would bend low over his books, carefully studying them through his reading glasses.
Hare Krishna.
Stop. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Rashmi Mataji?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Pranam. Sorry
Yeah.
for late joining, Prabhuji.
No problem, no problem. Please read.
And yes, Prabhuji. An hour passed, the Prabhupada worked on. The building was dark except for Prabhupada's lamp and quiet except for the sound of his voice and the click and hum of the dictating machine. He wore a faded peach turtleneck jersey beneath his grey wool chadra. And since he had just risen from bed, his saffron dhoti was wrinkled. Without having washed his face or gone to the bathroom, he sat, absorbed in his work, at least for these few rare hours. The street and the Radha Krishna temple were quiet. This situation with the night dark, the surroundings quiet, and him at his transcendently literary work was not much different from his early morning hours in his room at the Radha Damodara temple in Vrindavana, India. There, of course, he had no dictating machine, but he had worked during the same hours and from the same text, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Once he had begun a verse-by-verse translation with commentary, and another time he had written essay on the text. Now, having just arrived in this corner of the world, so remote from the sense of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, he was beginning the first chapter of a new English version of Chaitanya Charitamrita. He called it Teachings of Lord Chaitanya.
Thank you, Mataji.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Lavish Prabhu?
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Lavish Prabhu. Yes.
He was following what had become a vital routine in his life, rising early and writing the Parampara message of Krishna consciousness, putting aside all other considerations, disregarding present circumstances, he would merge into the timeless message of transcendental knowledge. This was his most important service to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. The thought of producing more books and distributing them widely inspired him to rise every night and translate. Prabhupada worked until dawn. Then he stopped and prepared himself to go down to the temple for the morning meeting. Though some of the New York disciples had objected, Srila Prabhupada was still scheduled for the mantra rock dance at the Avalon Ballroom. It was not proper. They had said, for the devotees out in San Francisco to ask their spiritual master to go to such a place. It would mean amplified guitars, pounding drums, wild light shows, and hundreds of drugged hippies. How could his pure message be heard in such a place? But in San Francisco, Mukunda and others had been working on the mantra rock dance for months. It would draw thousands of young people, and the San Francisco Radhakrishna temple stood to make thousands of dollars. So, although among his New York disciples, Srila Prabhupada had expressed uncertainty, he now said nothing to deter the enthusiasm of his San Francisco followers. Continue, Prabhu.
Yeah, one more.
Sam Siprasta, Mukunda's friend and one of the Mantra Rock organizers, explained the idea of Hayagriva, who had just arrived from New York. There is a whole new school of San Francisco music opening up. The Grateful Dead have already cut their first record. Their offer to do this dance is a great publicity boost just when we need it.
Hare. Thank you, bro.
Hare.
Lalit bro.
But Swamiji says that even Ravi Shankar is Maya. Hayagriva said. So it's all been arranged, Sam assured him. All the bands will be on stage and Allen Ginsberg will introduce Swamiji to San Francisco. Swamiji will talk and then chant Hare Krishna with the bands joining in. Then he leaves there. Then he leaves. There should be around 4,000 people there. Srila Prabhupada knew he would not compromise himself. He would go, chant, and then leave. The important thing was to spread the chanting of Hare Krishna. If thousands of young people gathering to hear rock music could be engaged in hearing and chanting the names of the God, then what was the harm? As a preacher, Prabhupada was prepared to go anywhere to spread Krishna consciousness. Since chanting Hare Krishna was absolute, one who heard or chanted the names of Krishna, anyone, anywhere, in any condition, could be saved from falling to the lower species of them in the next life. These young hippies wanted something spiritual, but they had no direction. They were confused, accepting hallucinations as spiritual visions, but they were seeking genuine spiritual life, just like many of young people on the lower east side. Prabhupada decided he would go. His disciple wanted him to. And he was their servant and the servant of Lord Chaitanya. Thank you, Prabhupada.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah, Sandhya Mataji, Hare Krishna, please read. Hare Krishna, Sandhya Mataji. Okay. Chandraval Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Mataji, continue from here.
Hare
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Should I continue, Prabhuji, or Chandramouli Prabhuji should read?
Chadhan మీరు Mataji.
Mukunda, Sam, and Harvey Cohen had already met with rock entrepreneur Chet Helms, who had agreed that they could use his Avalon ballroom and that if they could get the bands to come, everything above the cost of the groups, the security, and a few other basics would go as profit for the San Francisco Radha Krishna temple. Mukunda and Sam had then gone calling on the music groups, most of whom lived in the Bay Area, and one after another the exciting new San Francisco rock bands, the Grateful Dead, Moby Grape, Big Brother, and the Holding Company, Jefferson Airplane, Quicksilver Messenger Service, had agreed to appear with Swami Bhakti Vedanta for the minimum wage of $250 per group, and Allen Ginsberg had agreed. The lineup was complete. In San Francisco, every rock concert had an art poster, many of them designed by the psychedelic artist called Mouse. One thing about Mouse posters was that it was difficult to tell where the letters left off and the background began. He used dissonant colors that made his posters seem to flash on and off. Borrowing from this tradition, Harvey Cohen had created a unique poster, Krishna Consciousness Comes West, using red and blue concentric circles and a candid photo of Swamiji's smiling in Tompkins Square Park. The devotees put the posters up all over town.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Chandraval Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. In San Francisco, Haigreva and Mukunda went to discuss the program for the mantra rock dance with Allen Ginsberg. Allen was already well known as an advocate of the Hare Krishna mantra. In fact, acquaintances would often get him with Hare Krishna when he walked on High Street, and he was known to visit and recommend that others visit the Radha Krishna temple. Haigreva, whose full beard and long hair revealed elegance, was concerned about the melody Allen would use when he chanted with the Swamiji. I think the melody you use, Haigreva said, it is too difficult for good chanting. Prabhuji, can you please move on?
some stuck అయిపోయింది బ్రో బాగండి.
Oh.
Yeah. Read.
Maybe Alan admitted, but that's the melody I first heard in India. A wonderful lady saint was chanting it. I'm quite accustomed to it, and it's the only one I can sing conventionally. With only a few days remaining before the mantra rock dance, Alan came to an early morning kirtana at the temple and later joined Srila Prabhupada upstairs in his room. A few devotees were sitting with Prabhupada, eating Indian sweets when Alan came to the door. He and Prabhupada smiled and exchanged greetings, and Prabhupada offered him a sweet, remarking that Mr. Ginsburg was up very early. Thanks.
Thank you, Bro. Madhavi.
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Prabhu said,
Yeah. Dhanavad Prabhu. Please read.
Yeah. Yes. Ellen replied, the phone hasn't stopped ringing since I arrived in San Francisco. That is what happens when one becomes famous, said Prabhupada. That was the tragedy of Mahatma Gandhi also. Wherever he went, thousands of people would crowd about him, chanting Mahatma Gandhi ji ki jai. Jaya, Mahatma Gandhi ki Jaya. The gentleman couldn't sleep. Well, at least it got me up for Kirtana this morning, said Ellen. Yes, that is good. The conversation turned to the upcoming program at the Avalon Ballroom. Don't you think there is a possibility of chanting a tune that would be more appealing to Western ears? Ellen asked. Any tune will do, said Prabhupada. Melody is not important. What is important is that you will chant Hare Krishna. Can be in the tune of your own country. That doesn't matter.
Continue.
Yeah.
Yes.
Prabhupada and Ellen also talked about the meaning of the word hippie, and Ellen mentioned something about taking LSD. Prabhupada replied that LSD created dependence and was not necessary for a person in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness resolves everything. Prabhupada said nothing else is needed.
Very well. Thank you, Madhavi.
Thank you, Prabhupada.
Let me read. Yeah. At the Mantra Rock Dance, there would be a multimedia light show by the biggest names in the art, Ben Van Meter and Roger Hilliard. Ben and Roger were expert at using simultaneous strobe lights, films, and slideshows to fill an auditorium with optical effects reminiscent of LSD visions. Mukunda had given them many slides of Krishna to use during the Kirtana. One evening, Ben and Roser came to see Swamiji in his apartment. Roser Hilliard, he was great. I was really impressed. It wasn't the way he looked, the way he acted, or the way he dressed, but it was his total being. Swamiji was very serene and very humorous, and at the same time, obviously very wise, in tune, enlightened. He had the ability to relate to a lot of different kinds of people. I was thinking, some of this must be really strange for this person to come to the United States and end up in the middle of Haight Ashbury with a storefront for an ashrama and a lot of very strange people around. And yet, he was totally right there with everybody. On the night of the Mantra Rock Dance, while the stage crew set up equipment and tested the sound system, and Ben and Roger organized their light show upstairs, Mukunda and others collected tickets at the door. People lined up all the way down the street and around the block, waiting for tickets at $2.50 a piece. Attendance would be good, a capacity crowded, a capacity crowd, and most of the local luminaries were coming. LSD pioneer Timothy Leary arrived and was given a special seat on stage. Swami Kirtanananda came carrying a tambura. A man wearing a top hat and a suit with a silk sash that said San Francisco arrived, claiming to be the mayor. At the door, Mukunda stopped a respectably dressed young man who didn't have a ticket. But then someone tapped Mukunda on the shoulder. Let him in. It's all right. He is Osley. Mukunda apologized and submitted, allowing Augustus Osley Stanley to folk hero and famous synthesizer of LSD to enter without a ticket. Haribol. One more time we'll read again. Vani Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost everyone who came wore bright and unusual costumes, tribal robes, Mexican ponchos, Indian kurtas, god's eyes, feathers, and beads. Some hippies bought their own flutes, lutes, gourds, drums, rattles, horns, and guitars. The Hells Angels, dirty haired, wearing jeans, boots, and denim jackets, and accompanied by their women, made their entrance, carrying chains, smoking cigarettes, and displaying their regalia of German helmets, embellished, emblazoned emblems, and so on. Everything but their motorcycles, which they had parked outside. The devotees began to warm up Kirtana on stage, dancing the way Swamiji had shown them. Incense poured from the stage and from the corners of a large ballroom. And although most in the audience were high on drugs, the atmosphere was calm. They had come seeking a spiritual experience. As the chanting began, very melodiously, some of the musicians took part by playing their instruments. The light show began. Strobe lights flashed. Colored balls bounced back and forth to the beat of the music. Large blobs of pulsing color spluttered across the floor, walls, and ceiling. A little after 8 o'clock, Moby Grape took the stage. With heavy electric guitars, electric bass, and two drummers, they launched into their first number. The large speakers shook the ballroom with their vibrations, and a roar of approval rose from the audience. Around 9:30.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rashmi Mataji?
No, Prabhuji. Around 9:30, Prabhupada left his Frederick Street apartment and got into the back seat of a Harvey's Cadillac. He was dressed in his usual saffron robes, and around his neck he wore a garland of gardenias, whose sweet aroma filled the car. On the way to the Avalon, he talked about the need to open more centers. At 10 o'clock, Prabhupada walked up to the stairs of the Avalon, followed by the Kirtanananda and Ranchor. As he entered the ballroom, devotees blew conch shells. Someone began to drum roll, and the parted down the center all the way from the entrance to the stage, opening the path for him to walk with his head held high. Prabhupada seemed to float by as he walked through the strange milieu. Making his way across the ballroom floor to the stage. Suddenly, the light show changed. Pictures of Krishna and his pastimes flashed onto the wall. Krishna and Arjuna riding together on Arjuna's chariot. Krishna's eating butter. Krishna subduing the whirlwind. Damon, Krishna playing the flute. As Prabhupadas walked through the crowd, everyone stood applauding and cheering. He climbed the stairs and seated himself softly on the waiting cushion. The crowd quieted.
Thank you, Mataji. Madhavi Mataji? Hare Krishna? Madhavi Mataji? Or Sandhya Mataji? Or Deepa Mataji? Yeah, read.
Looking over it, Allen Ginsberg, Prabhupada said, "You can speak something about the mantra." Allen began to tell of his understanding and experience with the Hare Krishna mantra. He told how Swamiji had opened a storefront on 2nd Avenue and had chanted Hare Krishna in Tompkins Square Park. And he invited everyone to the Frederick Street Temple. "I especially recommend the early morning kirtans," he said, "for those who coming down from LSD want to stabilize their consciousness on re-entry." Prabhupada spoke, giving a brief history of the mantra. Then he looked over at Alan again. You may chant. Alan began playing his harmonium and chanting into the microphone, singing the tune he had brought from India. Gradually, more and more people in the audience caught on and began chanting. As the kirtana continued and the audience got increasingly enthusiastic, musicians from the various bands came on stage to join in. Tanker, a fair drummer, began playing Moby Grape's drums. Some of the bass and other guitar players joined in as the devotees, and a large group of hippies mounted onto the wall. Hippies mounted the stage. The multicolored oil slicks pulsed and the balls bounced back and forth to the beat of the mantra now projected onto the wall. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. As the chanting spread throughout the hall, some of the hippies got to their feet, held hands, and danced.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Sirisha Mataji or Madhavi Mataji? Are you there? Hare Krishna. Madhavi Mataji, Sirisha Mataji. Okay.
Sirisha
Oh, yeah.
went to drop Kate Prabhuji.
Okay, yes. Madhavi Mataji, Hare Krishna. Okay, yeah, Deepa Mataji, please read. Hare Krishna. Lavanya, you want to read?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Allen Ginsberg. Ikkadena?
Yeah.
Allen Ginsberg said, "We sang Hare Krishna all evening. It was absolutely great, an open thing. It was the height of the height Ashbury spiritual enthusiasm. It was the first time that there had been a music scene in Francisco where everybody could be part of it and participate. Everybody could sing and dance rather than listen to other people sing and dance." Janaki said, "People didn't know what they were chanting for, but to see that many people chanting, even though most of them were intoxicated, made Swamiji very happy. He loved to see the people chanting." Hagriva said, "Standing in front of the bands, I could hardly hear, but above all, I could make out the chanting of Hare Krishna, building steadily. On the wall behind a slide projected a huge picture of Krishna in a golden helmet with a peacock feather and a flute in his hand."
Hi.
Therefore,
Yeah. Continue. One more paragraph.
then Srila Prabhupada stood up, lifted his arms, and began to dance. He gestured for everyone to join him, and those who were still seated stood up and began dancing and chanting and swaying back and forth, following Prabhupada's gentle dance. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai.
It's called
Prabhuji.
Prabhupada's step.
ఏంటి ప్రభుపాద
స్టెప్ డాన్సింగ్ లో ప్రభుపాద చేస్తారు కదా ముందుకు వెనక్కి.
Yes. Yeah, now Prabhuji, Sapan Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Roger Segal.
Roger Segal. The ballroom appeared as if it was a human field of wheat blowing in the wind. It produced a calm feeling in contrast to the Avalon ballroom atmosphere of gyrating energies. The chanting of Hare Krishna continued for over an hour, and finally everyone was jumping and yelling, even crying and shouting. Someone placed a microphone before Srila Prabhupada, and his voice resounded strongly over the powerful sound system. The tempo quickened. Srila Prabhupada was perspiring profusely. Kirtananda insisted that the kirtana stop. Swamiji was too old for this, he said. It might be harmful. But the chanting continued faster and faster until the words of the mantra finally became indistinguishable amidst the amplified music and the chorus of the thousands of voices.
Read.
Then suddenly it ended. All that could be heard was the loud hum of amplifiers and Srila Prabhupada's voice ringing out, offering obeisances to his spiritual master. Om Vishnupadaya परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Srila Prabhupada made his way off stage through the heavy smoke and crowds and down the front stairs with Kirtanananda and Ranchor close behind him. Alan announced the next rock group. As Swamiji left the ballroom and the appreciative crowd behind him, he commented, "This is no place for a brahmachari." Hare Krishna.
Jai. Thank you, Prabhu. Lavish Prabhu or Chandravel Prabhu?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah,
The next
please.
morning, the temple was crowded with young people who had seen Swamiji at the Avalon. Most of them had stayed up all night. Srila Prabhupada, having followed his usual morning schedule, came down at 7, held kirtan, and delivered the morning lecture. Later that morning, while riding to the beach with Kirtanananda and Hayagriva, Swamiji asked how many people had attended last night's kirtan. When they told him, he asked how much money they had made, and they said they were not sure, but it was approximately $1,500. Half audibly, he chanted in the back seat of the car, looking out the window as quiet and unassuming as a child, with no indication that the night before he had been cheered and applauded by thousands of hippies who had stood back and made a grand aisle for him to walk in the trim across the strobe-lit floor amid the thunder of the electric basses and pounding drums of the Avalon ballroom. For all the fanfare of the night before, he remained untouched, the same as ever in personal demeanor. He was aloof, innocent, and humble, while at the same time appearing very grave and ancient. As Kirtanananda and Hayagriva were aware, Swamiji was not of this world. They knew that he, unlike them, was always thinking of Krishna. They walked with him along the boardwalk near the ocean, with its cool breezes and cresting waves. Kirtanananda spread the chadra over Prabhupada's shoulder. In Bengali, there is one nice verse. Prabhupada remarked, breaking his silence, "I remember. Oh, what is that voice across the sea calling, calling, come here, come here." Speaking little, he walked the boardwalk with his two friends, frequently looking out at the sea and sky. As he walked, he softly sang a mantra that Kirtanananda and Hayagriva had never heard before. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radharamana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. He sang slowly in a deep voice as they walked along the boardwalk. He looked out at the Pacific Ocean because it is great, it is tranquil.
Haribo. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare
Yeah, Chandravel Prabhu, then Lalitman Prabhu. Chandravel Prabhu. Okay. Lalitman Prabhu.
Sorry, I'm going ahead. The ocean seems to be eternal. Hayagriva ventured. No, Prabhupada replied. Nothing in the material world is eternal. In New York, since there were so few women present at the temple, people had inquired whether it were possible for a woman to join Krishna consciousness movement. But in San Francisco, that question never arose. Most of the men who came to learn from Swamiji came with their girlfriends. To Prabhupada, these boys and girls, eager for chanting and hearing about Krishna, were like sparks of faith to be fanned into steady, blazing fires of devotional service. There was no question of asking the newcomers to give up their girlfriends or boyfriends. And yet, he uncompromisingly preached no illicit sex. The dilemma, however, seemed to have an obvious solution. Marry the couples in Krishna consciousness. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Read one more.
That's it. Okay. Because traditionally, a sannyasi would never arrange or perform marriages. By Indian standards, someone might criticize Prabhupada for allowing any mingling of the sexes. But Prabhupada gave priority to spreading Krishna consciousness. What Indian, however critical, had ever tried to transplant the essence of India's spiritual culture into the Western culture? Prabhupada saw that to change the American societal system, and completely separate the men from the women would not be possible. But to compromise his standard of no illicit sex was also not possible. Therefore, Krishna conscious married life, the Grihastha ashrama, would be the best arrangement for many of his new aspiring disciples. In Krishna consciousness, husband and wife could live together and help one another in spiritual progress. It was an authorized arrangement for allowing a man and woman to associate. If, as spiritual master, he found it necessary to perform marriages himself, he would do it. But first, these young couples would have to become attracted to Krishna consciousness. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Yeah, let me read. John Campanella had grown up in a wealthy suburb of Portland, Oregon, where her father was a corporate tax attorney. She and her sister had their own sports cars and their own boats for sailing on the Lake Oswego. Disgusted by the disgusted by the sorority life at the University of Oregon, John had dropped out during her first term and enrolled at Reed College, where she had studied ceramics, weaving, and calligraphy. In 1963, she had moved to San Francisco and become the co-owner of a ceramics shop. Although she had then had many friends among fashionable shopkeepers, folk singers, and dancers, she had remained aloof and introspective. It was through her sister Jan that John had first met Srila Prabhupada. Jan had gone with her boyfriend Michael Grant to live in New York City, where Michael had worked as a music arranger. In 1965, they had met Swamiji while he was living alone on the Bowery, and they had become his initiated disciples, Mukunda and Janaki. Swamiji had asked them to get married, and they had invited John to the wedding. As a wedding guest for one day, John had then briefly entered Swamiji's transcendental world at 26 Second Avenue, and he had kept her busy all day making dough and filling kachori pastries for the wedding feast. John had worked in one room, and Swamiji had worked in the kitchen. Although he had repeatedly come in and guided her in making the kachoris properly, mm, telling her not to touch her clothes or body while cooking, and instructing her not to smoke cigarettes because the food was to be offered to Lord Krishna and therefore had to be prepared purely. John had been convinced by this brief association that Swamiji was a great spiritual teacher, but she had returned to San Francisco without pursuing Krishna consciousness further. What a dealings of Srila Prabhupada. Haribol. Some more. Madhavi Mataji and Deepa Mataji, are you there? Tulasi Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, can I read, Prabhuji? I think you
Yeah,
call
yeah.
us later.
Okay.
A
Next
few months later,
read Prabhu.
A few months later, Mukunda and Janaki had driven to the west coast with plans of going soon to India, but had changed their plans when Mukunda had received a letter from Swamiji asking him to try to start a Krishna conscious temple in California. Mukunda had talked about Swamiji to John and other friends, and he had found that a lot of young people were interested. John had been
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. We lost.
John had then accompanied Mukunda, Janaki, and a boy named Roger Siegel to the mountains in Oregon, where they had visited their mutual friends Sam and Marjorie, who had been living in a forest lookout tower. Mukunda had explained what he had known of Krishna consciousness, and the six of them had begun chanting Hare Krishna together. They had been especially interested in Swamiji's teachings about elevating consciousness without drugs. Mukunda had talked excitedly about Swamiji's having asked him to start a temple in California, and soon he and his wife Janaki, Sam and his girlfriend, Prabhuji, I lost the share. Hare Krishna,
No,
am I
actually,
audible?
Prabhu, you are audible. Prabhuji left actually. There might be some power disconnection or something like
Okay.
that. Internet is there.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah,
Hare
Raju Prabhu has become the host right now. So, Srisha Mataji,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Mataji, can you please transfer it? Lavanya Mataji, are you there in the system? Are you there with the
Yeah,
system?
yeah.
Yes,
I'm
yeah?
not
Okay.
on the Prabhuji, but I can read for some time. Meanwhile, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Do
You
have
can
book,
share,
Prabhuji?
Mataji? Huh.
Chandramal? But I am not on laptop, Prabhuji.
Okay, still you can share the screen na? Through the phone.
Just a second. Sapan Prabhuji, are you on laptop? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
Can you please share the screen?
ఒకసారి ఆ వర్స్ చెప్తారా?
After Swamiji's arrival ikkada. Before.
Just a minute.
ఆ లింక్ షేర్ చేయండి మాతాజీ.
Yeah, that's better.
If anyone is using a mobile, please share that link so that Sapan Prabhuji can share that.
మాతాజీ ఏమన్నా కీవర్డ్ ఉంటే చెప్పండి, నేను కంట్రోల్ ఎఫ్ చేస్తాను.
Yeah. Mukunda had explained.
Marjorie and Prabhu.
Marjorie or Mukunda?
Marjorie, M-A-R?
M-A-R?
J-O-R-I. J-O?
Yeah, got it. Yeah. Okay, I'll share. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Should I stop sharing?
You continue చేయండి చేయండి.
That is not this one, Prabhuji.
నేను చేస్తూ ఉన్నాను, రెడీగా ఉన్నాను.
ఓకే.
సడన్గా ఇంటర్నెట్ ఫ్లక్చువేట్ అయిందో ఏమో, మొత్తానికి డిస్కనెక్ట్ అయింది. వెరీ సారీ. క్లిచ్. ఓకే. చంద్రబాబు ప్రభు ఎక్కడ ఇక్కడ అయిపోయిందా?
పేర అయిపోయింది.
ఇంకోటి చదవండి ప్రభు.
Yeah, Mukunda had explained that, what he had known as known of Krishna consciousness, and the six of them had begun chanting Hare Krishna together. They had been especially interested in Swamiji's teachings about elevating consciousness without drugs. Mukunda had talked excitedly about Swamiji's having asked him to start a temple in California, and soon he and his wife Janaki, Sam and his girlfriend Marjorie, and Roger and John, now intimate friends, had moved to an apartment in San Francisco to find a storefront and set the stage for Swamiji. After Swamiji's arrival, John had begun attending the temple kirtanas. She felt drawn to Swamiji and the chanting, and she especially liked the informal visiting hours. So Swamiji would sit in his rocking chair and his hand in his bead bag, chanting the holy names, and John would sit fascinated, watching his fingers moving within the bag. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you. We will stop here. We'll continue tomorrow from this paragraph. Okay.
Okay.
Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita ki jai. So we'll start recitation. మాధవి మాతాజీ, తులసి మాతాజీ, చంద్రవేల్ ప్రభు. సో ఇది ప్రాక్టీస్ చేశారు కదా, 13:22, 13:23, 14:26, 15:7. ఓకే, సో టుడే విల్ ప్రాక్టీస్ దిస్. నెక్స్ట్ స్లైడ్, అనదర్ 5 శ్లోకాస్. ప్రభు మీరు ఒకసారి చేయండి. చంద్రబాబు ప్రభు, మన లలితమా ప్రభు.
ఎస్ ప్రభు, ఒకసారి కొంచెం. భగవద్గీత 15:15. సర్వస్య చాహం హృది సన్నివిష్టో మత్త స్మృతిర్జ్ఞానమపోహనం చ వేదైశ్చ సర్వైర్ అహం ఏవ వేద్యో వేదాంతకృత్వేద విదేవ చాహం. Should I directly do all the 5, Prabhu?
చేయండి. యా.
బ్రహ్మభూత ప్రసన్నాత్మా న శోచతి న కాంక్షతి సమః సర్వేషు భూతేషు మద్భక్తిం లభతే పరాం. భక్త్యా మామభిజానాతి యావాన్యశ్చాస్మి తత్వతః తతో మాం తత్వతో జ్ఞాత్వా విశతే తద్ అనంతరం. మన్మనా భవ మద్భక్తో మద్యాజీ మాం నమస్కురు మాం ఏ వయస్య సత్యం తే ప్రతిజానే ప్రియోసి మే. సర్వధర్మాన్ పరిత్యజ్య మాం ఏకం శరణం వ్రజ అహం త్వాం సర్వపాపేభ్యో మోక్షయిష్యామి మా శుచః. థ్యాంక్ యూ ప్రభు.
థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్. మరి భక్తి శాస్త్రి డివోటీస్ మాతాజీ ప్రభు, ప్లీజ్ డూ విత్ స్ట్రాంగ్ రిలేషన్.
హరే కృష్ణ. 15:15. సర్వస్య చాహం హృది సన్నివిష్టో మత్త స్మృతిర్జ్ఞానమపోహనం చ వేదైశ్చ సర్వైరహం ఏవ వేద్యో వేదాంత కృద్వేద విదేవ చాహం. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. Brahmabhuta prasannatma na chochati na kanchati samas sarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labhate param. One who is thus transcendentally situated at once realizes the supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed toward every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavanyachasati tatvatah tato mam tatvato jnatva visate tadanantaram. One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of me, by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaisyasi satyam te pratijane priyosi me. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. Bhagavad Gita 18:66. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam saranam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayasyami suchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Hare Krishna.
హరే కృష్ణ. థ్యాంక్ యూ ప్రభు. ఇంకా
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can I do, Prabhuji?
యా, రైట్.
Bhagavad Gita 15:15. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto matta smritirjnanamapohanam cha vedaischa sarvairahameva vedyo vedanta kritveda videva chaham. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. Bhagavad Gita 18:54. ब्रह्मभूता प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न काङ्क्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते paraam. One who is thus transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed up toward every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. Bhagavad Gita 18.55. Bhaktya mam अपि जानाति यावान् यश्चास्मि तत्त्वतः ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तदनन्तरम्. One can understand me as I am, as a supreme personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of me, by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Bhagavad Gita 18.65. मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो मद्याजी मां नमस्कुरु माम् एवैष्यसि सत्यं ते प्रतिजाने प्रियोऽसि मे. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. Bhagavad Gita 18.66. सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य माम् एकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वां सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Madhavi Mataji, then Tulasi Mataji. Are you ready?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita 15.15. सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्तः स्मृतिज्ञानमपोहनां च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद्वेदविद्येव चाहम्. Translation. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. Bhagavad Gita 18.54. Brahmabhuta prasannatma na shochati na kamshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. Translation. One who is the transcendentally situated at one realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed toward every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. Bhagavad Gita 18.55. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavaneshyastatvatah tato mam tattvato jnatva vishate tadanantaram. Translation. One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. And when one is in fully consciousness of me by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Bhagavad Gita 18.65. Manmana bhava matbhakto matyajimam namaskuru mam evaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosimi. Translation. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. Without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. Bhagavad Gita 18.66. Sarvadharman parityajya mam ekam saranam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaka. Translation. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Yeah, Tulasi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hi.
Basic
Yeah, Priya.
15.2. Sarvasya chaham hrudi sanniviष्णु matta smrtivyanamopanancha vedaischa sarvairahmeva vidyo vedanta kritveda vidyacha. Translation. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. Bhagavad Gita 18.54. ब्रह्मभूता प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न काङ्क्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते पराम्. One who is this transcendentally situated at once realizes the supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed toward every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. Bhagavad Gita 18.55. Bhaktyamam abhijanati yavan yaschami tatpata tato mam tatpato jnatva vishate tadantaram. Translation: one can understand me as I am, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of me, by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God.
ప్రేమయాత్రలకు బృందావనము నందనవనము ఏలనో కులుకులకు చెలి చెల్తనుండగా వేరే స్వర్గము ఏలనో.
Yes, yes. Real Vrindavan, when we practice Krishna consciousness, we will go back home back to Godhead. Definitely. We definitely will go back home back to Godhead, actually. Real,
Prabhu, who is that, Prabhu? Who is that?
our dear Chandramouli Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Always, as always, huh? Hari Bol Jai.
Hare Krishna.
ప్రేమయాత్రలకు బృందావనము. Correct, actually, that's real. మంచిగా రాశారు తెలుసా కవి ఎవరు?
What a timing, na? What a timing, huh?
No, Prabhuji, I just received one WhatsApp message. I thought of seeing what it is there. I played that song, Prabhuji.
అయినా దట్ ఈస్ కరెక్ట్ యాక్చువల్లీ. ఆ కవి రాసింది పర్ఫెక్ట్ రాశాడు యాక్చువల్లీ. If we really practice Krishna consciousness, our goal is back home, back to God, right? Vrindavan, right?
Yes.
Goal of Vrindavan kada. Yeah, Mata, continue. Sorry.
Hare Krishna.
Govinda.
18.65. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam evaishyasi satyam te pratijaneti priyosmi me. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Thus, you will come to me without fail. I promise you this. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. 18.66. सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वं सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः. Translation: abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Mata. Yes. And Chandramouli Prabhu for recitations. So now, only slokas we all recite and you all can hear. Anybody, let us unmute ourselves and do this, please.
Shall I recite, Prabhu?
Chain, Muralidhar Prabhu.
Bhagavad Gita 15.15. Sarvasya chaham hrudi sannivisto matta smritirgnanamapohanencha vedaischa sarvairahameva vedyo vedanta krudveda videva chaham. Bhagavad Gita 18.54. Brahma bhutah prasannatma na shociti na kankshati समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिर्लभते पराम्. भगवद्गीता 18.55. भक्त्या मामभिजानाति यावन्यश्चास्मि तत्त्वतः ततो यां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तदनन्तरम्. भगवद्गीता 18.65. मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो मद्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामे वैश्यसि सत्पन्ते प्रतिजानी प्रियोऽसि मे. भगवद्गीता 18.66. सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वां सर्वपापेभ्यो మోక్షయిష్యామి మా శుచః. హరే కృష్ణ ప్రభు.
నైస్ నైస్. పెద్దవారైనా మీరు రిటైర్డ్ పెద్దవారైనా మంచి స్పష్టంగా నీట్గా రిసైడ్ చేశారు. థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్ ప్రభు. నెక్స్ట్ సపాన్ ప్రభు ఆర్ ఎనీబడి.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita 15.15. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto matta smritirjnanamapohanam cha vedaischa sarvairahameva vedyo vedanta kritveda videva chaham. 18.54 ब्रह्मभूतप्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न काङ्क्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते पराम् भक्त्या माम् अभिजानाति यावान् यश्चास्मि तत्त्वतः ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तदनन्तरम् मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो मद्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामे वैस्यसि सत्यं ते प्रतिजाने प्रियोऽसि मे सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वां सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः हरे कृष्ण
Thank you very much. Inka, devotees?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I will do Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Bhagavad Gita 15.15 सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्तस्मृतिर्ज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृत्वेदविदेव चाहम् Bhagavad Gita 18.54 ब्रह्मभूता प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न काङ्क्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते परम् Bhagavad Gita 18.55 भक्त्या मामभिजानाति यावन्यश्चस्मि तत्त्वतः ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तत् अनन्तरम् Bhagavad Gita 18.65 मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो मद्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामै वैश्यसि सत्यं ते प्रतिजाने प्रियोऽसि मे Bhagavad Gita 18.66 सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वं सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचा Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Haribo, thank you. Anybody? Lavanya, you want to do?
Yeah.
Rashmi Mata.
Yes, Prabhuji, can I do?
Prabhuji,
Bhagavad
you can
Gita
do.
15.1. Mataji, you want to do? Then you can do.
No, you can do, Mataji. I'll do it.
Okay, Mataji. Bhagavad Gita 15.15 सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्तः स्मृतिर्ज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृत्वेदविदेव चाहम् ब्रह्मभूता प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न काङ्क्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते पराम् भक्त्या मामभिजानाति यावन्यश्चस्मि तत्त्वतः ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तदनन्तरम् मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो मद्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मम एवश्यसि सत्यं ते प्रतिजाने प्रियोऽसि मे सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वां सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः Thank you, Prabhuji.
Nice recitation. Thank you, Mataji. Next, ever Vani Mataji, Lavanya, anybody? Read it quickly.
Yeah, చేయండి Mataji.
Haribo, చేయండి. Hare Krishna.
వాణి హరే కృష్ణ వాణి మాతాజీ
ఇంటర్నెట్ ఉంటుంది
సారీ నేను అన్మ్యూట్ అవ్వలేదు నేను పాడేసుకుంటున్నాను ఓకే కెన్ యూ హియర్ మీ ప్రభుజీ నౌ
యా
सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्ता स्मृतिर्ज्ञानमपोहनं च वैदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद्वेदविदेव चाहम् ब्रह्मभूता प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न काङ्क्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते पराम् भक्त्या मामभिजानाति यवन्यश्चस्मि तत्त्वतः ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तद् अनन्तरम् मन्मना भाव मद्भक्तो मद्ये जी मां नमस्कुरु
माम् एवश्यसि सत्यं ते प्रतिजने प्रियोऽसि मे सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वं सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः
मोक्षयिष्यामि
मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः ओके
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Yeah.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Sir, Bhagavad Gita 15.50. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto matta smrtignanamohanam cha vedaisya sarvairahameva vedyo vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham 18.54. ब्रह्मभूता प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न काङ्क्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते पराम् 18.55 भक्त्या मामपि जानाति यावन्यश्चास्मि तत्त्वता ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तदनन्तरम् 18.65 मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो मद्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामे वैश्यसि सत्यन्ते प्रतिजाने प्रियोऽसि मे 18.66 सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वां सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुच हरे कृष्ण
Very good. Nice. Very good. So, అందరూ అయిపోయినట్టే కదా, let me do once. భగవద్గీత 15.15 సర్వస్య చాహం హృది సన్నివిష్టో మత్త స్మృతిర్జ్ఞానమపోహనం చ వేదైశ్చ సర్వైరహమేవ వేద్యో వేదాంతకృత్ వేదవిదేవ చాహం భగవద్గీత 18.54 ब्रह्मभूता प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न काङ्क्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते पराम् भगवद्गीता 18.55 भक्त्या माम् अभिजानाति यावन् यश्चास्मि तत्त्वतः ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तदनन्तरम् भगवद्गीता 18.65 मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो मद्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामे वैश्यसि सत्यं ते प्रतिजाने प्रियोऽसि मे भगवद्गीता 18.66 सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वां सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Thank you very much, devotees, for recitation, sloka recitation, and Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita readings. So we'll connect tomorrow, Friday. నిన్న ఎవరిది మన గ్రూప్ లో రెగ్యులర్ గా జాయిన్ అయ్యి వాణి మాతాజీ వాళ్ళ కూతురు బర్త్డే ఫ్యూ డేస్ బ్యాక్ నిన్న సంధ్యా మాతాజీ బర్త్డే సిన్స్ దే ఆర్ రెగ్యులర్ పార్టిసిపెంట్స్ ఇన్ అవర్ గ్రూప్ ఫర్ దేర్ స్పిరిచువల్ వెల్ బీయింగ్ అండ్ ఫర్ ఆల్ ఆఫ్ అస్ ఒక 9 టైమ్స్ హరే కృష్ణ మహామంత్ర ఇద్దాం ఓకే అండ్ మణికొండ రథయాత్ర ఉంది దానికోసం కూడా 3 టైమ్స్ హరే కృష్ణ ఓకే కెన్ వి డూ అన్మ్యూట్ అవర్ సెల్స్
ఓకే
హరే
ఓకే
9 టైమ్స్ హరే కృష్ణ మహామంత్ర ఓకే లెక్క పెట్టుకోండి చేతుల్లో హరే కృష్ణ
हरे कृष्णा
कृष्ण
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 कृष्णा
कृष्ण
हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे हरे राम राम हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे 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 राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे 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 राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे हरे राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे हरे राम हरे हरे
कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे
राम
हरे
राम राम
राम राम हरे हरे
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is transcendental. Prabhupada writes in purport transcendental sound vibration. Sound transcendental. I రాయడమే perfect transcendental. This Holy name is not from material sound vibration. It is a transcendental sound vibration. Transcendental sound vibration. Thank you so much. We'll connect tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo Anantakoti Vaishnavanda ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Can I, Hare Krishna? Hare Krishna.
Kesi Thursday. Japan.
Can I invite group in the group?
Everybody. All are welcome. Manikonda Ramalayam Rathayatra. Okay. Yes. Everybody, please come. Okay, na? Saturday 4 o'clock. Saturday 4 p.m. Okay. Sapan Prabhu Mata Seattle Chiraledu.
Prabhuji and Matajis, please. This is our first time we are organizing in Manikonda area in Panchavati Colony. We all need your support and encouragement. So please do come on 13 July Saturday at 4 o'clock in Ramalayam Hall. Okay. So Radhayatra starts from Ramalayam Temple and
we would have made it, Mataji. We have Tellapur Rathayatra. So my DTs are going, so I have to go along with them.
Okay,
Morning,
no problem.
2 నుంచి ఎప్పుడు స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది ప్రోగ్రామ్?
ఓకే మాది 4 కి మాతాజీ.
అక్కడ 2 కి స్టార్ట్ అవుతే తెల్లాపూర్ ఇంకా అట్లీస్ట్ 2 hours పడుతుంది కదా మాతాజీ? 2 to 3 4 hours పడుతుంది.
Yes, Mataji, no problem. You can go to Tellapur, no problem. Because your deities are going there, right? So obviously
Yes,
we'll go there. No problem. But we need your all blessings and support. Because
sure, Mataji, so, you are doing wonderful job. So
pray.
I will definitely
pray for.
Jagannath is yes, Mataji.
Mataji, we will come on Saturday morning. If you have any service or something, Mataji, please let me know. My Prabhuji is asking me to ask you if any service or something is there. He will come in the morning because that is Saturday weekend is there now, so he doesn't have any work.
So we need Gaurav Prabhuji during evening. Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Yeah, I think Bhakti Center there is a few services which is needed, Mataji. Maybe Prabhuji can pitch in. Yeah, if he's not
Bhakti Center
Sunday.
Bhakti Center Sunday. It is Saturday Mataji. So Saturday we will see. About
yes, please, whoever are available, please come and help us. Okay. Yeah,
yes,
thank you.
Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
This as personal information. Yeah, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you, Mataji.